At 10 years old, while other children played along the banks of the Nile, I was already commander-in-chief of the army. Can you imagine the weight of that responsibility on the shoulders of a child? I was raised in Luxor, immersed in deep theology, astronomy, mathematics, and geometry. I did not merely learn about the gods, I learned the mechanics of how they govern the universe. At 14, my father named me Prince Regent. I marched beside him in campaigns in Libya and the Levant, smelling blood and dust, learning imperial logistics before even understanding the complexity of human desire. My hair was red, a rare trait associated with the god Seth, lord of storm and chaos. I did not fear this association, I embraced it. I was the storm that would purify Egypt. My ambition was not merely to rule, but to eclipse every monarch who came before me. I wanted my name to be the first thing the sun illuminated at dawn, and the last to fade from the horizon. When I ascended the throne around the age of 24, Egypt was stable thanks to my father's work, but the world beyond roared. The Hittites in the north loomed like a growing shadow over our borders in Syria. I knew my reign would be defined by my ability to be both the sun that warms and the fire that consumes. My coronation was a spectacle of absolute divinity. I received titles such as the Strong Bull, Beloved of Truth, and the Avenger of Ra is Mighty. I was the living sun, and the world was about to feel my heat. But behind the golden mask, there was fear. Fear that my military lineage would be seen as usurpers. So I became a master of image. If I did not have the blood of the ancient gods, I would build temples so vast that the gods themselves would be forced to recognize me as one of them. I decided my life would be an engineering of power. I began by moving the capital to the eastern delta, founding Pi-Ramesses. It was a metropolis of victory, an industrial military complex capable of producing 1,000 weapons a week and hundreds of chariots in a matter of days. I was preparing for eternity, and Kadesh would be my stage. Come closer. Feel the scent of incense and the heat of the stones of Abu Simbel. In the 5th year of my reign, I marched north. I wanted Kadesh. My father had tried to conquer it, but I wanted to be the one who would finally subdue the Hittites. I led 4 divisions, Amun, Ra, Ta, and Seth. But youth is arrogant, and I was deceived by Hittite spies who feigned retreat. I advanced hastily with only the division of Amun, and suddenly the world collapsed. Hittite chariots emerged like demons from the horizon, shattering my troops, spreading panic where courage should have stood. I was abandoned, my soldiers fled. I was alone in my chariot, surrounded by thousands of enemies. In that moment, I was not a king. I was merely a man facing death. I called upon Amun-Ra, and if you believe the walls of my temples, I defeated them alone. The historical truth, it was a tactical draw, a disaster avoided only by the arrival of reinforcements at the last second. But the truth of power is different. I turned that near disaster into the greatest triumph Egypt had ever seen. I carved the story of Kadesh into Abu Simbel, the Ramesseum, and Luxor, using sunken relief so that my name and my glory could never be erased. I made the people believe I was the lone savior of the nation. Years later, I realized that peace is more profitable than blood. I signed with Hattusili III, the first international peace treaty in history. We sealed it with my marriage to a Hittite princess. I was a diplomat as much as a warrior, but my true dominion was over time and stone. I ordered the construction of Abu Simbel in Lower Nubia, carved directly into the mountain, 4 colossal statues of myself, each 21 meters tall, watch the south to intimidate anyone who dares challenge Egypt. Twice a year, on the day of my coronation and my birth, the sun itself is forced to enter the deep sanctuary to illuminate my deified face alongside the gods. I did not merely worship the sun, I commanded it. I was the master of usurpation. If I saw a magnificent statue of a predecessor, I ordered his name erased and mine carved in its place. This was not hatred, it was the necessity of being everywhere, of being the culmination of all pharaonic history. I had over 100 children and dozens of wives, but none like Nefertari. For her, I built a temple where she is depicted at the same scale as I am, an almost unprecedented honor. I was loved by my people, respected by my officers, and feared by my enemies. For 66 years, I was Egypt. But time is an enemy that accepts no peace treaties. I lived too long. Can you understand the weight of burying your own children? I outlived 12 of my heirs. In the end, I was a god who could barely walk. My mummy reveals the truth I hid beneath the linen. I suffered from severe arthritis. My arteries were hardened, and a dental abscess caused agony no priestly spell could cure. I, who commanded armies, died of a jaw infection at 90 years old. After my passing, the balance I maintained for decades began to crumble. My successor, Merneptah, faced the first waves of the Sea Peoples. The Egypt I left behind was rich in monuments but exhausted in spirit. Under Ramesses III, the crisis became unsustainable. The world was changing, the climate grew arid, the Nile floods failed, and famine began to haunt the delta. Do you want to know what truly brought down my empire? It was not foreign swords alone, it was internal decay. In the 29th year of Ramesses III, the first labor strike in history occurred at Deir el-Medina. My artisans, the ones who carved eternal tombs, abandoned their work because they had no grain to eat. Ma'at was broken. Administrative corruption and inflation destroyed faith in the divinity of the king. Royal power was gradually transferred to the priesthood of Amun in Thebes. By the end of the 20th dynasty, the high priests controlled more land and wealth than the pharaoh himself. Egypt was divided, the south ruled by priests, the north by symbolic kings. The glory of the new kingdom dissolved into a third intermediate period of fragmentation and Libyan, Nubian, and Assyrian invasions. My body was moved from tomb to tomb by priests attempting to protect it from looters until it was hidden in a royal cache at Deir el-Bahari. When I was found in 1881, I was nothing but a bundle of bones and dried skin, yet still bearing my aquiline nose and traces of my natural red hair. In 1976, I was taken to Paris for treatment, received with the honors of a head of state, proving that even in death I still commanded respect. The poet Shelley wrote about me, calling me Ozymandias, mocking the ruin of my statues in the desert. "Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair," he wrote. He believed time had defeated me, but look around you. You still speak my name. You still travel miles to see the temples I built. Power does not lie in the permanence of stone, but in the permanence of memory. I shaped history so it could not be told without me. The warning I leave you is this: power is an illusion that becomes real only as long as someone believes in it. Build something so vast that the silence of the desert can never silence your voice.